Alright, first off, want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled well. Shalom to the brothers in the highways and byways pushing this word now, sincerity and truth. The sisters, the believers, the helps, the hopeful elect. Shalom. This is the brother Iroam from a Jamaica camp. Come with another quick lesson. Alright, and this lesson is pretty much a lesson to show us that the Lord tempts us in various ways. Not only that, as it pertains to avenging ourselves, it's always good to let the Lord, avenge us. Because look at it. We're here in Babylon, and even though in the times to come, in regards to the persecution, there are going to be times when even our lives will be on the line, and we'd have to be martyrs. And there'll be times when we're going to be in dire situations, and we just have to wait on the Lord to deliver us. But as it pertains to now, while things are getting closer and things are eating up, while society is somewhat still together, temptations that the Lord give us aren't situations where people are trying to kill us, or it may be a situation where the Lord is tempting us as it pertains to people doing us wrong, put us in situations where the best way to handle it is to endure it or walk away from it. It's rarely, to the best of my knowledge, of course, everybody, I don't know what's going on in everybody's lives, but as it pertains to most things that I hear and the most common reports that I get, usually they're the situations where it's easy to walk away from, it's easy to avoid, even though you're in the right. And we have two examples here with David, and we're going to see how the Lord delivered him from them both, and how it we don't get tests, the tests come in many levels, and sometimes it's just the same test in different ways, and there's a lot of things that goes on, as it pertains to the trying of our faith. Now, this is 1 Samuel 24, and I'll start at verse 4. This is when Saul went into the cave just to rest. It says, "And the men of David said unto him, Behold, the day of which Yahweh said unto thee." And you see, you have men, the spirits are on men to whisper things in your ears, demons. Because here they're telling David that, look, that this is what the Lord is doing for you, right? So you have to be careful, even I was watching a video earlier with Apostle Aramlab, and he was pretty much going into giving the example of the prophet that didn't listen to the Lord, but listened to another man that was a prophet and ended up getting killed. You should have listened to the Lord. It's don't make flesh your arm. Don't listen to men. Follow the Spirit, follow what the Scripture says, apply the Scriptures, right? Because the Lord told him what to do to begin with, so no other man or no other prophet should have been able to come to him he shouldn't have listened to anybody else coming to him and telling him something different than what the Lord had told him to do. Right? But getting back to this, right, 1 Samuel 24 verse 4, "And the men of David said unto him, Behold, the day of which Yahweh said unto thee, Behold, I will deliver thine enemy into thine hand, that thou mayest do to him as it shall seem good unto thee. Then David arose and cut off the skirt of Saul's robe privily." And that is the thing. Many times, even with David, a lot of time his mighty men will tell him to do things, and he's like, what's wrong with you? I'll just chill out. And it's a thing that we see many times within the Scriptures, where other men, where demons or spirits jump on other people, and to whisper things in Job's wife, curse God and die. Things like that. There are many examples of that within the Scriptures. So we can be tempted with situations, we can be tempted with people, and we can be tempted with things. So continue. So David went ahead and he cut off Saul's robe privily. Verse 5, "And it came to pass afterwards that David's heart smote him, because he had cut off Saul's skirt," because he knew it was wrong. He knew that getting his lick back, so to speak, wasn't the way. And bear in mind, if you read this book of Samuel, up to this point, Saul was chasing David breathlessly, all over the place, seeking his life. On many, many occasions, David was pretty much hiding and living in the wilderness for the most part. He was on the go because Saul was at his heels, seeking his life. So it would seem as if this would be the justified or the right way to go about it, right? So, but David knew that it was wrong. That is why his heart, smote him, so that he felt a way about it. He was like, damn, shouldn't have done that. Verse 6, and he said unto his men, Yahweh forbid that I should do this thing unto my master, because there was order. Saul was still the king, and it was the Lord who was going to uplift David and put him on the throne, not David doing it himself. Despite the fact that he was being persecuted. And the same thing with us. We aren't gonna be the ones to deliver ourselves and give ourselves the kingdom. It's through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahshai. The Lord is gonna bring us through trials, and the Lord is gonna exalt us in due time. Right? He said unto his men, Yahweh forbid that I should do this thing unto my master, Yahweh was anointed, to stretch forth my hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of Yahweh. So David stayed his servants with these words, and suffered them not to rise against Saul. But Saul arose up out of the cave and went on his way. Alright, I'll just continue. So you can see that he had the opportunity right there and then. David also arose afterwards and went out of the cave and cried after Saul, saying, and now listen to the dialogue, listen to how David is going about it. He's even taking the low, even though he was in the right. Right? It says, my Lord the king. And when Saul looked up behind him, David stooped with his face to the earth and bowed himself. So even though he was the one who was being persecuted wrongfully, he suffered himself, he humbled himself, right? He humbled himself before the Lord, and he also, put himself below Saul. He bowed his face to the ground. And David said to Saul, wherefore hearest thou men's words, saying, behold, David seek thy hurt? So he's asking, where have you heard this? Who told you that I'm trying to hurt you? Behold, this day thine eyes have seen that Yahweh had delivered thee today into mine hand in the cave. And some bade me to kill thee, but my eyes spared thee. And I said, I will not put forth my hand against my Lord, for he is Yahweh's anointed. So he explained it. Look, even my men were saying I should be off with you. But I know that Yahweh is the one who set you up. Alright? Moreover, my father, and he went as far as to even call him his father, said, moreover, my father, see the skirt of thy robe in my hand, for in that I cut off the skirt of thy robe and killed thee not. Know thou and see that there is neither evil nor transgression in my hand, and I have not sinned against thee, yet thou huntest my soul to take it. He's showing him, look, even though you're trying to kill me, I had the opportunity to kill you, and this is the proof that I could have killed you. Yahweh judge between me and thee, and Yahweh avenge me of thee. So he's saying that, look, I'm going to leave this in the hand of the Lord. Yahweh is going to judge between us, and in any case, Yahweh is going to be the one who avenged me. And that is the mindset that we need. That, one of the key concepts that we need to grasp. To humble ourselves even when we're being persecuted. To endure even when we're being persecuted. Even at the point of our life. Flee once there's a chance to flee. Some men will say, oh, I'm tired of running full time now, I stand up, or some BS, as some men will try to go and try to show themselves as tough guys, this whole military stance, so on and so forth. It's just not the way. giving the wrong image. We're not going to be able to fight our way out of this carnally, yo. This is a spiritual fight. And we are gonna have to prove our obedience, just as how Yahushua proved his obedience, despite being persecuted, despite being in a sticky situation and a serious situation, having faith that Yahweh is going to deliver us out of it, even when we can't see a way out. That is it. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That is it. Alright. So I'll read that verse again. Verse 12, it says, Yahweh judge between me and thee, and Yahweh avenge me of thee, but my hand shall not be upon thee. So he's saying, look, the Lord is going to deal with this. I'm not going to do you anything. As saith the proverb of the ancients, wickedness proceeded from the wicked, but my hand shall not be upon thee. So that was a proverb of some ancient men of their time. All right. After whom is the king of Israel come out? After whom dost thou pursue? After a dead dog? After a flea? So he's saying, look, I'm nothing. Why are you, who are you coming after? This lowly man, he called himself a dead dog, and even worse, a flea. He's like, look, I'm small in thy sight. I'm nothing compared to thee. I'm just a man just going about. Yahweh therefore be judged, Salakia, and judge between me and thee, and see and plead my cause, and deliver me out of thy hand. So he said, look, Yahweh delivered me, and it's the same thing for us. Yahweh is going to deliver us this out of the hands of our enemies. We just have to be obedient and trust in him and wait upon him to revenge us and avenge us. Right? And even now, Saul had to acknowledge it, yo. And it came to pass when David had made an end of speaking these words unto Saul, that Saul said, Is this thy voice, my son David? And Saul lifted up his voice and wept. And he said to David, Thou art more righteous than I, for thou hast rewarded me good, whereas I have rewarded thee evil. And thou hast shewed this day how thou hast dealt well with me, for as much as when Yahweh had delivered me into thine hand, thou killedst me not. For if a man find his enemy, will he let him go well away? Wherefore Yahweh reward thee good for that thou hast done unto me this day. And it's the same thing, you know. I think in the New Testament, he said what? Even Yahweh said it, you know, heaping coals of fire upon their heads. Especially when it comes down to the unbelievers, and that will come upon us, that come up against us in this current time, as well as in the days that are going to come up against us in the days to come. You know, it says, what's that, verse 20? It says, And now behold, I know well that thou shalt be king, and that the kingdom of Israel shall be established in thine hand, which the hopeful elect, that's what we're hoping for. And we saw how David got his crown. Yahushua did the same when he was being persecuted, when he was being crucified. Right? It says, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it right there. Right? But that's the first instance. Now let's see how the Lord had tempted David again with a similar situation. All right, so let's get a bit of the idea of the personality of the men that David, of the man rather, that David had to deal with. Right? It says, yeah, let me start. 1 Samuel 25 verse 2. It says, And there was a man in Mahan whose possessions were in Carmel, and the man was very great, and he had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and he was sharing his sheep in Carmel. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife was Abigail, and she was a woman of good understanding and of a beautiful countenance. But the man was churlish and evil in his doings, and he was of the house of Caleb. Now let's look on this word, churlish. All right. Let's see the type of personality, and let's see if this doesn't describe most people that we see on a day-to-day. Hard, cruel, severe, obstinate, hard, difficult, fierce, intense, vehement, stubborn, stiff-necked, stiff of neck, stiff-necked, rigorous of battle. Down here it says roughly, cruel, grievous, hard-hearted, heavy, heavy, impudent, sore, sorrowful, stubborn, right? And if we go down here, it shows you that it says what's this? Harsh words, hard, i.e., harsh words, whose day is hard, whose lot is hard, unhappy. And imagine he had all that one, but it says firm, fast. He was one of those hard and fast guys who, just get at you. Hardened, stubborn, impudent, hard-faced, difficult. So this is the type of man that David had to deal with. Now, pretty much, David sent some men to ask him for food because they were in the wilderness and they were protecting his flock, pretty much. Right? They were protecting his flock. Now, I'm gonna get right. So, David decided, look, he's gonna be rude and he's gonna be disrespectful. Then I'm just gonna pretty much get rid of his house, right? Kill everything. I'll jump to verse 14, 1 Samuel 25, verse 14. But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master, and he railed on them. Let's look on this word railed. So pretty much cursed them out. Scream, shriek, to scream, dart greedily, swoop upon, rush upon, dart greedily. So it was pretty much shouting at them, and him being a impudent man and a rude man, you can tell that he was pretty much, cursing their ass out, to press upon, to rush violent upon a person or a thing, to storm at them. Let me see. All right, there, that's about it for that. Right. Where was I? Right. And he railed on them. But the men were very good to us, and we were not hurt, neither missed we anything, as long as we were conversant with them when we were in the fields. They were a wall unto us both by night and day, all the while we were with them keeping the sheep. Now therefore know and consider what thou wilt do, for evil is determined against our master and against all his household, for he is such a son of Belial that a man cannot speak to him. And that's the thing. He's like, look, he's one of those guys who doesn't, as we say in Jamaica, him not take no talk. Meaning he doesn't listen to anyone. He just does his thing. He do what he wants when he wants. He doesn't care about what anyone else has to say. Right? So let's look on this word Belial. It says a man of Belial. Worthlessness, worthless, good for nothing, unprofitable, base, wicked, ruin, destruction. So he was a man unto his own destruction. He would just, he was own way, stiff-necked, stubborn. He's one of those guys who just operates as he has a mind, and he doesn't care, and he say what he wants and does what he wants, and that is just it. That's the type of personality that he had, and especially based on the fact that he had great things. As he said, he had great possession. He told you how many sheep, how many goats. He was a man of wealth, and it also told you that very night he even had a big feast, like the feast of a king. So pretty much the servant was like, look, what your husband did was wrong, and David was pretty much angry, and he was going to get at them. As a matter of fact, let me read verse 12. So David's young men turned their way and went again, and came and told him all those sayings. And David said unto his men, gird thee on every man his sword, And they girded on every man his sword, and David also girded on his sword. And there went up after David about 400 men, and 200 aboard by the stuff. So David was ready to get busy, right? Then Abigail made haste and took, pretty much she took some food and gave the servants to go before him to give unto David, but not tell her husband. You can read the story, but in the interest of time, I'm trying to get to the point. Right, so verse 20, and it was so as she rode on the ass that she came down by the covert of the hill, and behold, David and his men came down against her, and she met them. Now David said, surely in vain have I kept all that this fellow had in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that pertained unto him, and he had required me evil for good. Because he's like, look, this is look at the scripture told you how big the earth was, and he made sure that, look, everything was good, nothing was missing. He pretty much protected it, even though he wasn't asked to do it, even though it wasn't higher, but he did a good deed, and now he needed help. It was the least he could do, but he pretty much dealt with them harshly, told them off, and it was like, I can't believe this. And I'm sure that as men, we've all been in situations like that, where it's like, more than doing, I just feel like, helping you do this, might as well I tear it all down. And we've all had that carnal mindset at some point or another within our lives, and David pretty much was so hurt about this that and he got emotional that he was going to kill all of them. He pretty much lost his footing, as it based on the situation. It angered him, right? He was ready to avenge himself. So and more also do God unto the enemies of David, if I leave of all that pertain to him by morning light any that pisseth against the wall. So it's like, look, they're all gonna get it, because this isn't fair. This is messed up. We dealt with you good. Why would you treat us like that? Can tell that it was an out of pocket message. How Jake is, right? Verse 23, and when Abigail saw David, she hasted and lighted off the ass, and fell before David on her face, and bowed herself to the ground, and fell at his feet, and said, upon me, my lord, upon me let this iniquity be, and let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak in thine audience, and hear the words of thine handmaid. Let not my lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, even Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. And Nabal pretty much means fool. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But I, thine handmaid, saw not the young men of my lord whom thou didst send. So he said, look, to listen. And it's sometimes the Lord will, if you have a carnal thought, or you are about to do something, that's off in the spirit, the Lord sometimes send even people, I'll say unbelievers, people in the world, maybe at work, and Jake may come to you and say something that actually, just turns your mind. Or sometimes it may be a case where the Lord just put a spirit on a brother to come to you and say, hey, so on and so forth, because a brother may see that you're about to do something out of the way, and he just, talk to you right away and be like, hey, that's not the way to think, get out of the way, don't do that. You can actually be causing more harm than good. You're doing something that you can pretty much get jacked up for, or something that won't be beneficial in the long run. All right, and that is how the Lord delivered David in this situation. And it was a similar situation with Saul. At one situation, you had men telling you that, look, do this thing, and then you have another situation where it's like, hey, don't do that, right? And it just works out how it's the same situation, but the Lord was really testing him in regards to this, and you can see that he overcame it, just like with even the Benjamite, who when I think it was what's his name, I don't remember which one of his mighty men was like, look, let me just go and kill him. And he's like, what have I did to do with thee? What if the Lord has sent him to torment me, so that I can call upon him to deliver me? Leave him alone, But yeah, the Lord always tested David in. That's one of the major tests that David continually got. And to be, the scripture says, the greater thou art, the more humble thyself. So to be a king, to be a leader, one of the main things is to have humility. And this was David's process of going through being humbled and having humility, despite the fact that he was ordained to be king. And he was and it was clear, because Samuel came and be like, this is who will be king over Israel. And in the previous chapter, Saul told him that he knew that he was going to be king, because guess what? Samuel told Saul, and Saul knew it. But he was just trying to fight it. The demon was on him to come against David, because he was going to lose the kingdom. But he knew. Even Jonathan knew it. But this was him being humbled and being tried of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and also delivered as well. Right? Now, she was saying, look, I didn't know that the men came, because I'm guessing that if they had came and she knew, she would have given them things nonetheless. Verse 26, it says, now therefore, my Lord, as Yahweh liveth, and as thy soul liveth, seeing Yahweh had withholden thee from coming to shed blood, and from avenging thyself with thine own hand, now let thine enemies and they that seek evil to my Lord be as Nabal. And that is the thing. He's highlighting, look, the Lord pretty much stopped you from avenging yourself with your own hand, because once again, this is one of the key things within the ministry. We should be pushing to be avenging ourselves in all things. We should be praying for Yahweh Shemashai to give us the spirit, or the faith to know that we'll be delivered out of any situation. Even with the miracles in Egypt, the Lord used Moses to do those things, but did they kill the Egyptians? No, the Lord did. Did they of their own go through the Red Sea? No, they didn't. When they were going into land, when they won the wars, who gave them the spirit to win? Who made it that? Who provided those circumstances? They always said the battle is Yahweh's, right, which is the Lord's. Continuing, right. So the Lord pretty much would stop him from avenging his self, and you're going to see what David says in a minute. Right, it says, and now this blessing which thine handmaid had brought unto my Lord, let it be given unto the young men that follow my Lord. I pray thee, forgive the trespass of thy handmaid, for Yahweh will certainly make my Lord a sure house, because my Lord fighteth the battles of Yahweh, and evil has not been found in thee all thy days. So he was being tried to do something evil, because upon that point, everything David did was within accordance to the Spirit of the Heavenly Father. Right? It says, yet a man is risen to pursue thee and to seek thy soul, but the soul of my Lord shall be bound in the bundle of life with Yahweh thy God, and the souls of thine enemies shall he sling out as the middle of a sling. And that's the same thing that's going to happen for the elect. Our enemies are going to be put out the way, and it shall come to pass when and that's why we're of the house of David also. So this blessing is for the house of David. And it shall come to pass when Yahweh shall have done to my Lord according to all the good that he had spoken concerning thee, and shall have appointed thee ruler over Israel, this shall be no grief unto thee, nor offense of heart unto my Lord, either that thou hast shed blood causeless. Because this is something he could have walked away from. Yeah, it was a messed up situation, but it didn't justify him going there to kill all those people, just because this man disrespected him. But being in the wilderness, being chased all over the place, doing a good deed, and then it seemed as if there's no reward for it afterwards. When asking for help, it got to him. And I can understand it. Hey, we as I said, we've been in similar situations at some point in time, in our lives, sometimes even while being in the truth, but at the end of the day, it's something that can be avoided. So it would be shedding blood causeless. So it would definitely, if he was supposed to be made king after that, it's something that would be that could rest on his mind. It's also something that people could say, hey, when things go wrong, they're like, hey, remember that time when he killed Nabal over his food or over his own possessions or some things like that. It could have left a stain, and it would have left a stain. And even if people wouldn't say that, he would know in himself, it would come back to him. He'd probably tell himself that he doesn't deserve the kingdom because of this situation right here. It could have gone many ways, right? It says that verse 31 again, it says that this shall be no grief unto thee, nor offense of heart unto my Lord, either that thou hast shed blood causeless, or that my Lord had avenged himself. But when Yahweh shall have dealt well with my Lord, then remember thine handmaid. So it's like, look, after the Lord has delivered thee and have conquered thine enemies, pretty much, remember me. Listen what David had to say. And David said to Abigail, blessed be Yahweh, God of Israel, which sent thee this day to meet me. And blessed be thy advice, and blessed be thou, which has kept me this day from coming to shed blood, and from avenging myself with mine own hand. And remember what David said to Saul. He said that, look, Yahweh will avenge him. He will not avenge himself with his own hand. And he was here, another situation came up and he was about to do it, but this time this situation wasn't against the Lord anointed. So I guess that is where I speak as a man, this is where the extra level of pressure comes from, because you can say, hey, the Lord is dealing with Saul, but hey, the Lord is not dealing with this man. And that is why in this truth you have to have the mindset that you deal with brothers. Of course we deal with brothers on a more on a closer level, but at the same time we don't deal with the unbelievers nonetheless. You're not going to say, oh, I'm not going to commit adultery with another brother's with a brother's woman, but I'm going to commit adultery with an unbeliever's wife. You're not going to say, oh, you know what, I only deal with the brothers good, but when I'm out there among the world, among the unbelievers, I'm going to treat them like shit. I'm going to look down on them. I'm going to talk to them any way I feel. I'm not going to regard them any at all. No. Scripture says what? If possible, live peaceable with all men. And it's not that we've been given this truth because we're quote unquote, much better than them or more deserving than them. It's just through the mercies of the Heavenly Father. So regardless of unbeliever or believer, there's still a standard to be upheld. All right. Verse 33 again, and blessed be thy advice, and blessed be thou which has kept me this day from coming to shed blood and avenging myself with my own hand. For indeed, as Yahweh God of Israel liveth, which kept me back from hurting thee, except thou had hastened and come to meet me, surely there had not been left any unto Nabal by the morning light, any that pisseth against the wall. So that shows you how upset he was. He was very angry about it. So David received of her hand that which she had brought him, and said unto her, go up in peace to thine house. See, I have hearkened to thy voice, and have accepted thy person. And pretty much, and it shows how wicked Nabal was, because the Lord pretty much judged him. Right? Let me just read the judgment, right? It says, and Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house like the feast of a king. So, it's not like he didn't have the food to be able to give to David, because even after Abigail had given them food and gone, he had enough to have a feast. So he could have definitely shown his gratitude by helping them out, But he was hey, that's a nigger for you, And Nabal's heart was merry with him, for he was very drunken. Wherefore she told him nothing less or more until the morning light. But it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, and his wife told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became as a stone. And it came to pass about 10 days after, that Yahweh smote Nabal, that he died. And when David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, blessed be Yahweh, that pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hand of Nabal, and had kept his servant from evil. For Yahweh had returned the wickedness of Nabal upon his own head. And David sent and communed with Abigail to take her to him to wife. So you see, the Lord pretty much plead his cause. And guess what? He also helped to keep him from evil. And it's the same thing with us. There are times when similar things happen, when we're being persecuted wrongfully, when we're in similar situations to these. The Lord always finds a way to keep us. We say, look, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, or we get upset, we vent, and then we say, you know what? The Lord will plead my cause. The Lord will deliver me. The Lord will avenge me. And guess what? The Lord ended up doing it, you know, without us having to do anything. And it's going to be the same thing in the days to come, you know. So just saying that this, David was tried that way, yo. And it's the same thing the elect Yahushua went through it, and the elect would have to do it. Our righteous forefathers went through it, so we have to go through it. So hopefully this was edifying. Once we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom to the brothers in highways and byways pushing this word in all sincerity and truth. The sisters, the believers, the helps, the hopeful elect. Shalom.